right, calculus. Here we are for a little notes check video. You're gonna turn this in first thing in class on Wednesday. All right, so if you got some friends that aren't gonna watch this video, don't tell them. Let's be a surprise. Differentiate each. All right, so I'm gonna give these back to you too, because all these examples are gonna be very important for things in the future. Hint, hint, wink, wink. F of x is a negative 4/5 sine of negative 8x, cosine 2x. All right, so this is definitely the product rule here. We have two kind of parts of this function in terms of x. So I'm going to call this the first part here. So I take the derivative of this first part, negative 4/5 cosine of u times the derivative of u, times the second part, plus the first part, times the derivative of the second part. Derivative of cosine 2x would be a negative sine 2x times 2. I'm going to clean this up. Negative times a negative is a positive. That's 32/5 cosine negative 8x, cosine 2x, and it just stays there. Don't call it cosine squared. It's not the same. It's not the same angle. All right, then over here, negative times a negative is a positive. That's going to be 8/5 sine negative 8x, sine 2x. This would be the appropriate answer there. All right, again, you're going to turn this in right away on Wednesday. Then I'm going to check, make sure we have this in the work. Then I'm going to hand this back to you. So you can use it at a later date. All right, so number 2, f of x is equal to negative 5x squared over the square root of 3x squared plus 2. All right, which again, that's how you write it using a fractional exponent. So I'm gonna use quotient rule here. Low d high minus high d low, the derivative of the denominator there. 1/2 u to the 1 power less. Derivative of u would be 6x. 1/2 of 6x is 3x. This times this is going to be negative 15x to the third, but you're subtracting, so it's positive 15x to the third. I'm going to put this out front. Now, the best answer here, folks, you can divide everything by 3x squared plus 2, right? That's the 1/2 power, negative 1/2 power. So I'm just subtracting power. So this over this, I'll use negative exponents. It's negative 10x times 3x squared plus 2x to the negative 1/2 power plus 15x to the third. This would be to the negative 3/2. To the negative 3/2. Again, pause this whenever you need to. All right, study for that quiz number 3. Okay, that's still going to occur on the same day. The due dates don't change at all. All right. Example 3, I have f of x is equal to 6x to the third over 3x squared minus 5x. What I wanted to do here, guys, is in order to get the correct answer, most simplified answer, you divide everything by x. So f of x is 6x squared minus, or over 3x minus 5, all right? And then you do the quotient rule. Low d high minus high d low all over the square of what's below. Okay, I can do a little distribution there. And that simplifies relatively nicely to give you that answer. Make sure you simplify everything at the beginning, though. All right, number 4, another product rule here. It's kind of be like the first part. That's going to be the second part, your f of x, your g of x. All right, so be careful here. What's the derivative of secant? So you have 2/3. The derivative of secant is secant tan, which this is going to have a nice antiderivative in the spring. So it's going to be, the derivative of this is going to be secant 6x, tangent 6x, and then I have to take the derivative of that 6x, which is 6. And I multiply it by the second function, which is tangent 6x, plus the first function. All right, so the derivative of tangent is secant squared of your angle times the derivative of your angle. 2/3 times 6 is 4. Secant 6x, and then tan is tangent squared 6x. That is the same angle, so I can say tangent squared. Then I have secant cubed 6x, and honestly, that's okay. I mean, you could factor out the 4 secant 6x and have secant squared, tan squared. You could rewrite either tangent or secant in terms of the other, and then plus or minus 1, but we're just going to leave it like that. All right. And then our last 3 here. Y is equal to 3 over x to the 5th plus natural log 4x minus 7 minus 2/3 e to the 8x. That's 3x to the negative fifth. Okay, 3x to the negative fifth. I'm just going to take the derivative, bring down the power, 1 power less. Derivative of natural log u is 1 over u times the derivative of that u. And then minus 2/3 e to the u times the derivative of that u. And we get a pretty pleasant answer. All right. Not bad, not bad. And then number 6 here, folks. Number 6. All right. Oh, boy. Anyway, take the derivative, 15x squared. That's pretty easy. All right, so here's where we have a product rule. Derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of second. Derivative of cosine u would be negative sine u times the derivative of u. Nice. And the derivative of tangent is secant squared of my angle times the derivative of my angle. Just going to do some light cleaning up. This is going to go out front. Positive times a negative is a negative. That stays the same. And then that looks pretty good. All right. And lastly, we need to find y prime because it wants the derivative here, right? And if you can't get y all by itself, it means we're going to find y prime, which is finding y prime for all these. All right. So implicit differentiation. This is the product rule here. Derivative of the first times the second. So it's going to be 3 times y to the third plus 3x times the derivative of y to the third would be 3y squared, y prime, minus 4y prime is equal to 21x squared. 3 and 3 give you 9. All right, so you see that? I got to get the y primes together. I'm going to keep them on the left side. I'm going to move the 3y to the third over. Factor out the y prime we have in common, leaving me with 9x y to the second minus 4. I'm going to divide both by that. All right, folks, you need that to be a relatively quick video. You got other things to prep. Make sure that homework set's done. Siak Math Videos signing out.